Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Back to 12 podcast. And before we get today's video started, if you want more Texas Tech men's basketball portal update videos, all I ask you to do is this. Go down to the comments and type the number 12. That is it for the Back to 12 podcast. We're giving you daily updates on this stuff. And if you want more of them, let me know. And all you have to do is type the number 12 down in the comments. All right, let's talk about someone in today's video that I have gotten word about from multiple people close to the Texas Tech men's basketball program in terms of a guy to look out for. And then at the end of the video, I'll kind of give my thoughts on the current roster, which is kind of tricky right now because obviously a few guys will be added, probably a couple, right? And what I think that Texas Tech potentially could be good at next year. But let's jump into this name as it is Vanderbilt transfer Tyrin Lawrence, a 6'4", 190-pound combo guard, again, from Vandy, a former four-star recruit, averaged 13.1 points per game, 4.4 rebounds, 1.7 assists, while shooting 36% from three last season in Nashville. Now, he's a downhill scorer, and he does it really effectively in terms of getting to the rim. He can finish with either hand. He is a lefty, so his predominant hand is to go to the left side. That's his trend, right? But he can finish with the right as well. He has really good court vision is what I've noticed in terms of he can find spacing really, really well. And now I will say this, when I look at everything, what really pops out in terms of his court vision is when he's passing, right? And the aspect of him with his passing that really stood out to me was he was patient. He's a patient guy. He's a junior last season, going into his senior season. And by the way, he was in the NBA draft, but retained his college eligibility, and it doesn't look like he'll go to the draft, right? But that's one thing that stood out to me was his just patience when he was passing the basketball, specifically in the pick and roll type setting where he's a pretty good player. But let's get to some numbers in terms of where he excelled or was well above average, right? So last season, he was a really solid catch and shoot guy, had a 55% effective field goal percentage, which ranked 75th percentile nationally. Now, he's really good in the pick and roll. And if you've watched any other videos on this channel, when it comes to Grant McCasland and what he's going after in the portal, it seems like it's guys that are effective in the pick and roll. And that's really what Grant McCasland did at a high level at UNT, right? You look at that, and he averaged 0.99 points per possession as a primary ball handler in the pick and roll type setting. That averaged in the 85th percentile nationally. Now, again, patience is a big part of his game, and that goes along with the spot-up opportunities, okay? He averaged 1.16 points per game. One more time, 1.16. Hard for me to say, obviously, which ranked 86th percentile nationally, okay? Now, he also had a game-winning three against Tennessee, the number 6 team in the country out there in Nashville. By the way, Vanderbilt's just got a weird court. It was hard watching highlights because I didn't know where the benches were. I forgot they were at the end of the court instead of on the sideline. It was throwing me off for a good 2 minutes of their highlights that I was watching for him in his tape. It was just difficult for me. Maybe it's my ADHD. I don't know. Anyway, he's athletic in transition as well. He can either be the guy that's off the ball or he can be the primary ball handler and really start the break if he gets a rebound and gets going, right? But the thing is, for me, offensively, I think he can play off ball a little bit as well as on ball. So he's got that combo guard in him. And I think he's really, really good, as I mentioned from the numbers, as a spot up guy. So what I mean by that is he's also a good cutter. He's good at flashing towards the basket, having his hands readily available. And if there's nothing there, he goes to a spot that he knows he can shoot well from deep. Right? Defensively, his length creates problems for guards. Again, he's 6'4", 6'5", in that range, right? Has long arms, is athletic, moves his feet really, really well. He's big enough to guard, 1 through 2, 1 through 3, and maybe a 4, depending on how big the 4 is if a team goes smaller there. Really good hands defensively as well. But this is a name to know or at least monitor in the portal, as it has been brought up to me by a couple of people that follow Texas Tech men's basketball. And if he did come to the 806, and I think that's a pretty significant if right now, as we all know, the portal changes so quickly, he'd be an instant starter, in my opinion, for the Red Raiders. Now, I'll ask you this about Tyrin Lawrence one more time. If you want Tyrin Lawrence to come to the 806, simply like the video. That's all I ask. All right, let's jump into the roster right now as it stands of the time of this recording, which is Saturday, May 13th. You got 6 players listed on the official website for Texas Tech, and then you got 5 more in terms of recruits from either the portal or from the high school ranks. You got Isaacs, Lindsey, Jennings, Walton, both Williams, both Washingtons. Then you got McMillan, Jackson, and Steffi. And the reason I wanted to bring this up is looking at the current roster and how it stands right now. I wouldn't mind seeing Texas Tech getting out and transition a little bit more, especially when a guy like Washington, is the outlet passer. Kyron Lindsey's the outlet passer. And then you see these guys just beelining down the middle of the court. They both have extremely good hands, and that goes for Robert Jennings too as a trailer, right? But they all have really good hands. I don't feel as comfortable with Warren Washington off the bounce in terms of transition with the dribble. Kyron Lindsey, I'm fine with it. He's good. But I really want to see this for multiple reasons. And starting out with this, first and foremost, I guess the bigs. That was the first point. But secondly, would be to create space for guys like Pop and Chance. I don't know how effective they'll be in the half-court setting in terms of creating space, right? You think about it last year for UNT, and by no means am I saying Texas Tech is going to be the exact same replica of UNT from last season, but they do have the coach, and it would make viable sense that it would be similar, right? There wasn't a lot of spacing. I think for Pop and Chance, you want to get as many easy looks for them as possible because they are good shooters. They're good in transition. Pop shot nearly 40% from 3 last year. Chance McMillan, he shot over 40% from 3 last year. And then you have the aspect of Lamar Washington where he is really good in transition, can use his physicality to get to the rim, and is a smart decision maker as well. So it would allow guys as well to get to respective spots on the floor that they feel that they can shoot really well from. Perfect example is Darion Williams, right? If he's at the 4 spot, let's say you got a lineup on the floor of this. Pop, Chance, Lamar, Darion, and Lindsey, right? You got small lineup out there outside of Lindsey, right, who is 6'8", okay? You can really run in transition, allow Darion to get down to the floor into the left corner where he is a really, really good shooter. Shot over 50% from that spot last year from 3, right? So you get a guy to his spot there. Then you can have Pop play off the ball, or if he's bringing it up, get to a spot that he wants to while Chance is on the other side of the floor spacing. And then you got Lindsey going beelining down the middle of the floor with Lamar on the opposite side as well to create a little bit more space. So you have guys that can go out there and do that. And so I wonder with the current roster construction as it is, and it is probably going to change, but I wonder how significantly it will change. If they go out and let's play the hypothetical game here and say they do get Lawrence, I would think that they run a little bit more potentially, get out in transition, start that outlet pass with Washington, Jennings, and shoot, Lindsey can even run the fast break if he needs to. But I like the idea of them running a little bit more and potentially putting a defense back on their heels and creating a little bit of easy baskets because in the half-court setting, at least from the past 2 years of Grant McCasland at UNT, it seems like it'll be slowed down. But to his credit, Grant McCasland does adjust to his team, and I wonder if looking at this roster, this is what the adjustment is. Again, just me thinking out loud. Want to hear y'all's opinion as well on this. Do you think Texas Tech will or should run a little bit more next season when it comes to men's basketball? Just a simple Y for yes or N for no down in the comments below. And again, if you want more of these Texas Tech men's basketball portal update videos, all I ask you to do is type the number 12 down in the comments below. I am RC Maxfield, and if you want the latest breaking news when it comes to Texas Tech men's basketball, the latest portal updates, and everything in between, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button to stay in the know right here on the Back to 12 podcast channel.